Man, guys, this is gonna be another of those stream of consciousness videos. This is going to be my blood DK one. I'm at 110. I've been doing mythics and heroics and normals and world quests and everything. My weapon is decent. At the time of the recording, I hadn't actually gotten my third artifact slot. I have it now. Nothing's really changed. I do more DPS than the DPS more often now. And I'm also going to go ahead and review Mythic Black Rook Hold while I'm here as a tank POV. You know, because I like to multitask. So, well, Black Rook Hold. Definitely my least favorite dungeon in Legion. I do not enjoy this one. I will actively go out of my way to not have to do it. It's just so boring. You go upstairs, and then when you're not going upstairs, you're going to the next staircase that you can go up. Very dull, incredibly repetitive. I'm not saying the fights aren't interesting or well designed. I'm saying the aesthetic of the dungeon is crap. The art is great, but it doesn't vary enough. The most interesting part of this entire dungeon is whenever you go on the balcony so you can see the fucking sun. It's just not my favorite. Like, I like all of the Legion dungeons except this one. That being said, can't do Archway and Court of Stars yet, but I'm assuming those two super dungeons won't be shit. But yeah, you got a mini boss in the beginning, you have some trash packs. I kind of overpull a lot, but my healer is decent, so he's got my ass covered. The first boss here that we're coming up on now only has two real mechanics. One of them is like a bunch of mechanics together, but it's only two mechanics. He does a cleave that covers half the room, whichever way the tank's standing. You just go to the other side of him and don't get hit with it. It's super easy to not get hit by that. That was it right there. The other mechanic is this one, which we had never seen before because he doesn't do this in heroic. So the DPS in my group weren't killing things. And, well, it went poorly. Very poorly. The first time I did it. And, killed more than half the group. So, I mean, if you kill the ads, it's really easy, because what happens is the ads get to the boss, they buff him, and then he does an AoE that hits everybody, and if he's buffed enough, it one-shots everybody. Look, somebody got a thingy. Overall, I'm not saying it's not a fun dungeon, but it's meh. So, now about Blood DK. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to start off saying I do have fun playing Blood. I am enjoying it, but the weaknesses are very apparent. Like, you don't notice the mobility issue because blood DKs are the least mobile thing in the game at all, period. You don't really notice that until it becomes horrible. It's either a non-issue 90% of the time, and then that 10% when it becomes an issue, it's the worst thing in the world. But there's really nothing to be done about that. I mean, you can reduce the cooldown on Wraithwalker, increase the duration actually as blood. But you have to save that ability. That's almost a defensive cooldown for blood because it breaks stuns. And we don't have Icebound Fortitude to do that for us anymore, so I mean, we're just fucked. Mobility is ass. At 110, Vampiric Blood is actually better than it was at 100, and at 100 it was pretty close to overpowered because now it's 45% instead of 30%. So it's just redonkulous. To the point where sometimes I'll be almost dead questing as Unholy, and I'll swap to Blood real quick, pop Vampiric Blood to heal, not even hit anything, just pop the cooldown to increase my health pool, and switch back, and it nearly fully heals my Unholy spec. It's ridiculous. You know, just life hack right there. But, I mean, it's fun. There's nothing really much to say that I haven't already said. The way Marrowrend works is way less effective at 110. Maybe it's probably just a gear thing because I was very geared at 100 doing this stuff. But I've noticed it became very difficult to keep my bone shield stacks up and be able to hard strike. I'm at the point where either I'm in a lower level content so I can spam Heart Strike a lot and do decent damage, or I'm in current level content and I have to spam Marrow Rend a lot and do ass damage just to keep my Bone Shield stacks up. I'm not saying I like hate that. A tank having to use its defensive ability isn't exactly the worst thing in the world. It just feels weird that we have two spam buttons and they're both dependent on the gear you have. It's just odd. It's kind of like old warriors just spamming Heroic Strike instead of, like, you know, doing whatever warrior shit is, shield block and barrier. On AoE it becomes very, 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 very aggravating though, especially if like ads are actively spawning, because you need to Heart Strike to pick up some of those ads. Sometimes the Death and Decay and Blood Boil are just on cooldown, and using that Heart Strike, if your Bone Shield just falls off right there, you're just fucked. You immediately begin taking 20% more damage for a lengthy period of time for a tank. Minor issues that I've been noticing more and more. It doesn't sound like much to you if you don't play Blood a lot, but believe me whenever I say 20% for 4 seconds is a very big deal. Anti-Magic Shell is actually way less good than it used to be. Not saying it's bad, but it's been so absurdly powerful for so long that now that it's just not, now it's very mediocre. I don't know. The fact that it doesn't give ass for RP anymore is a very big nerf. This boss is real boring to tank. You stand here and you DPS her and pop your AM when she cleaves you. And then you wait for an ad to spawn, and then you taunt it and you kill it. And then you do that again. And if you get targeted with the laser beam, then you're too close to the boss in this phase and you should move. But yeah. It's not. The lore of this fight is phenomenal. I love the lore of this fight, but the fight itself pretty shitty. I think, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this fight. Back to Blood. Oh, man, I'm yawning. Blood Boil. On that note, bringing it up, I'm absolutely loving Blood Boil at max level. Even after the nerf, it still does very, very respectable damage. It's just a good ability. It really is. The short recharge on it helps a lot with AoE and with filling your rotation, because Blood has downtime. Blood has a lot of downtime, and sometimes that is just not fun, and Blood Boil helps fill those globals, even though we still will end up having downtime even with it. It also applies that disease that heals you every tick, which is, oh, on AoE, oh my goodness. It's the best fucking shit. Oh, it heals for so much. But single target is pretty crap. Pretty damn crap. Death Strike, though. Death Strike is fucking phenomenal. The change to it, back to mop style, I actually like. I prefer mop style tanking. This is the reactive. As long as you keep the running power to Death Strike, then once you need it, once you get that chunk damage, you can pop it and just top off. By the way, watch right here. This trash, I am stupid and pulled all of without telling my healer what'll happen, and I'll die in a minute. But, you know, pay attention and don't be stupid like me. But yeah, old Death Strike, where it heals you based on a percentage of the damage taken in the last few seconds, is fucking great. It's just a super good ability if you use it effectively. Oh, God. Like I said, guys, first thing in the morning I'm doing this. Jesus. And then the big one. The one everybody really wants to hear about. Consumption. Yes. Consumption is just Death Strike without the fucking shield. Except, well, actually, that's not true. It shares a mechanic with Death Strike in terms of the high damage I heal. But Consumption, if you're not aware, is actually a 360 degree AoE. He doesn't just hit the target in front of him, he hits everything around him and heals for every single hit, which if you hit like 7 or 8 things, you're hitting for 2.6, 2.7 million. You're literally just 0 to 100 yourself immediately. It's so good. I got hit by a rock right there because I'm stupid. I think I do that one more time actually. Consumption is very, very fun. The cooldown's a little long, I think. 45 seconds on a one-hit thing that doesn't do all that much damage, and unless you're mass AoE, doesn't actually heal for much. Just not that great. But other than that, it's actually a pretty good ability. I don't hate it, and I do use it, obviously. Oh, I forgot about Dancing Rune Weapon. How could I forget about the most mediocre tanking cooldown? Jesus, 20% parry. Thanks, Blizzard. That's just helpful. God. I'm not saying I've never found use for it, like on AoE pulls like this actually. It's a pretty good cooldown because if you block one in every 5 hits, it can actually save your ass, but really it only shines on single target because, you know, then you actually need to block an attack. On this shit, I don't know, it's not a good ability. It does like no damage either because it mimics your abilities when you do it. Like you're like, oh, I got 2 diseases up. The second one does like 1 damage. It's super bad. I don't know why. I really wish they would just like give us back Ice Bound Fortitude and take Dancing Rune Weapon and shove it up a Demon Hunter's ass. But they won't do that. So no use worrying about that. This boss is fun because he hits really hard once every 30 seconds, and then icing on the cake, he drops poop on the floor, and he will charge somebody, and you need to block the first charge, and then let your stack reset or you'll die, and let someone else in the group, preferably a plate wearer, block the second charge, and then third, and then you go back to blocking the next charge. It's honestly, he's not a bad fight. He's really not a bad fight. He is on non-mythic difficulty. This fight is literally tank and spank. It's patchwork. But on mythic, it's actually a decent encounter. Gorfine's Grasp. And I miss being able to use that. I get more use out of Gorfine's Grasp questing now than dungeoning. Because in dungeons, you're always like, oh, I could use it here, but man, what if I need it coming up? And so it became a situationally used defensive cooldown, kind of like Stampeding Roar, but less useful. And you really just don't see it anymore. Nobody uses it because it's just, you want to save it. And you end up kind of running into the same issue people run into in single-player RPGs, where they end up stockpiling all their potions, because they're like, well, what if I end up needing this? You end up doing that with Gorfines, and you kind of have to, because the first time you use it on the trash pack just to get everything together to be a little more convenient, and then the next pull, your Mage Cinderstorms, you're fucked. So, by the way, side note, fuck Cinderstorm, fuck Barrage, and fuck Sidewinders. All of them. Just fuck them right off the planet. But as you can see, this dungeon really is just to go upstairs a lot, and then, oh look, a balcony, and then go upstairs a lot. It's... Blizzard, guys, come on, come on, come on. Death Grip's still great, Interrupt's still great. By the way, the Interrupts are ranged at 15 now. I love that. They did it so that we could compete with Demon Hunters, I think, but it's so good. Personally, I like Minotaurine. War Stomp has saved my ass more times than Blood Fury ever would have. Yeah, that's pretty much all of my thoughts on Blood DK right now, guys. It's fun. There are problems, but there are also huge upsides. So if you have to have downsides, or it's terrible. So we're just gonna roll with that. Oh look, perfect timing. Because I'm recording this like live with the video playing. This boss is real. Actually, he's a good fight. This is a good fight. It's over a little quicker than I'd want, but like he drops that one laser beam. That's his mechanic. He drops the purple laser beam. Look, now the fight's over. But wait, I'm totally fucking with you because I'm a funny guy. And look, a demon. Now, this dude has a mechanic where he drops a cloud of bugs called Stinging Swarm. If you stand in it, it's like disoriented bugs in your head and they bleed you. You have to kill them. So just don't stand on the cloud. And then his other mechanic is this one, which he shoots the lasers in a circle. and it moves pretty quickly, so you need to follow it. On non-mythic, it's real slow. But yeah, just dodge that like the first boss in Skyreach and you're fine. He does hit the tank really hard. Your healer needs to be prepared for that. He also AoEs the group with an uninterruptible Shadow Ball volley, which is real interesting. Thanks, Blue. I actually liked this fight quite a bit, though. As a tank, he's super boring, but it's still a good fight. So yeah, guys, that's my thoughts.